Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, great to have you. Pull up a seat. Today we're going to be looking at crowdfunding campaigns that launched between February the 28th and March the 5th. So this is essentially the first crowdfunding roundup of March 2024. I thought I was going to have 6 campaigns to look at today. One of them is not going to fund. I'm going to mention that campaign briefly, but we'll really be looking at 5 different campaigns. So these are my picks from that period, the campaigns that I think look like your safest bets, and the games that I think look like the best games of everything that launched during that period as well. Now, if you don't have time to watch the whole video, I have everything set up with bookmarks, so you can jump around, go right to the content that interests you. And if any of the campaigns are strike a chord for you, you can go down into the description section, click on the link to that campaign and go right there. Boom. Then you can look at it some more and potentially back it if you want to. The best way to support this channel at this point in time is still to like and subscribe, and I really appreciate anyone who wants to go ahead and do that. I have more types of content coming later in the year, including relaunched teach and review videos, as well as live streaming of games. And the more support I get, the easier it will be for me to launch that type of content. So support the channel if you want to see me putting out more videos than just the once a week crowdfunding recommendation series. But that's what we're doing right now, so let's get to it. The first of our 5 games we're going to be looking at this week is Galactic Cruise. Now, in this week's video, we have 4 campaigns that are on Kickstarter, 1 that's on Gamefound. This was a March 4th launch. The rest of the games that we're going to be looking at all launched on March 5th. And as we can see down here, this campaign is going to run until April 3rd. Currently, they have $488,000 in funding off of a $50,000 funding goal. That's almost $500,000, and that makes this the most well-funded campaign of the video. Now, this is being put out by Kinson Key Games. They're a relatively new publisher. They've previously done a game called Delavirus, which is sort of a pick up and deliver game that took place during a pandemic. So there was a pick up and deliver element to it, as well as a pandemic, a virus element, hence the name Delavirus. That game was designed by TK King and Colton Thompson, same designers of this game, and Kinson Key Games is their company. On Galactic Cruise, they're also joined by a 3rd co-designer named Dennis Northcott, but this is his first design game. So it's the first design game for one of these designers and the second design game for the other 2. Relatively new designers, relatively new publishers, and normally I would say that adds a little more risk into the equation, so just keep that in mind. But from everything I've seen, this looks like a really good game, and it's probably something that I am personally going to back. Also, it has art by Ian O'Toole, who's one of my favorite artists in all of board games. You may know him from such games as Carnegie, The Gallerist, Kanban EV, Lisboa, or On Mars. And this is a space-themed worker placement game, heavy complexity, with mechanics like action points and multi-use cards. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this video here, and then we'll go over the 5 pledges together. I don't believe there are add-ons with this one, so it's just going to be a question of which pledge level do you want to back at and what is involved in those various pledge levels.
Tired of the same old boring vacations? Ready to take a trip you'll never forget? Something truly out of this world? Introducing Galactic Cruise, the first company to offer luxurious vacations in space. Blast off with us into the stars.
Welcome to Galactic Cruise. Our CEO, Travis E. Preston, is retiring, and he's looking for his replacement. Will you be the one to take the company into the new era? As supervisors, it is your responsibility to help the business thrive by building and launching exciting cruises. Each turn, you will deploy one of your workers to take 2 actions. Acquire new blueprints with activities to suit those seeking adventure, relaxation, or family fun. Or purchase supplies needed to launch your cruises. Invent new technologies for ongoing benefits. Or work to affect markets of resources and special agendas. Build developments between departments to increase your action selection each turn. Install segments into your shuttle and acquire a new shuttle. Or schedule an advertising cruise to attract the right guests. When your resources are ready, launch a shuttle and reap the rewards. Pilot your shuttle and track your cruise's journey while gaining bonuses and unlocking upgrades. Track your progress as you launch and accomplish the company's goals. Be the most successful supervisor and earn the coveted title of CEO of Galactic Cruise. Well, the stars wait for no one, so let's get to work.
So the first of the pledge levels that we're going to be taking a look at is called Promising Supervisor. Now, I always talk about shipping during my videos, but the shipping is for the continental US, the lower 48. So if you're anywhere else in the world, you need to find the shipping for your area. But for the continental US, this is an $89 pledge with $16 in shipping for $105 total. And this is simply the base game. So that's all you're getting in that pledge level, the base game. There's 2 different expansions throughout this campaign that you could get, and the next 2 pledges are each going to include one of those expansions. The first one is called Middle Management Advancements. That is a $104 pledge with $17 in shipping or $121 total, and that is going to add to the base game the Advancements expansion. The third pledge level is similar. Middle Management Accommodations, same price point, $104 with $17 in shipping, $121 total, and this pledge level will add in the Accommodations expansion. From there we go to Upper Management. This is going to include both of those expansions. So for this one, there is a $119 pledge level, still $17 in shipping, $136 total. And I think before we go any further, let's go over here and take a look at what those 2 expansions include. So the first one is the Advancements expansion, and you'll find that they're adding a lot of the same types of things. So for Advancements, you're going to have 48 more blueprint tiles, something called the Cabin Matching Module, 8 advanced technology tiles, that is the advanced technology modules, 6 location advancement tokens, that is the advanced locations module, and then more, just kind of more things. You've got more agenda cards, a couple of expert worker tiles, 8 upgrade tokens, a cockpit and engine tile, and 4 technology trackers. If we go down to the Accommodations expansion, it's similar types of things. So with this one, you're getting 48 more blueprint tiles, but these are different blueprint tiles than the 48 in the other expansion. So if you're getting both expansions, you're going to be getting a lot more blueprint tiles, 96 to be exact. This is the specialized blueprint module. Then you've got 36 starting upgrade cards, the starting upgrades module, and more, including 6 more agenda cards, 2 more technology tiles, 8 upgrade tokens, 2 expert worker tiles, and 2 upgrade techs. So getting both of those expansions will give you a lot more modules and a lot more variability you can throw into the game. If you would like to pledge the future CEO level, this is a $129 pledge, $18 in shipping, $147 total. You're already getting both expansions with this, but what you're adding in at this pledge level are the deluxe bits, which are acrylic money and ad tokens. Now, from the upper management, which has both expansions included, it's only an $11 increase, so it's not a huge jump up in price. And I guess the question is whether that extra $11 is worth it for you to have those deluxe bits. I don't think there's as many deluxe bits in there as with a lot of other games, but it's only an $11 increase, so it's not that much extra, and it probably is something that would be worthwhile for a lot of people. There are no add-ons. There's no add-on section over here. And the other place you can check for add-ons sometimes, if you go into the details section, it will show you what is in each pledge level, and then it will allow you to add more things on. And you'll see that that is not an option here. So there are no add-ons that you can add on to the pledge, and there's no add-on section over here on the left-hand side. That means whatever you want, you just need to back at that pledge level. And there's not that many extras, which I think is a smart thing for a newer publisher to not go crazy with a lot of other extras that are going to increase the SKUs or just create a huge headache for them to deal with in terms of distribution. So they're keeping it relatively simple, and that feels like a smart decision to me. Finally, Galactic Cruise is targeting February 2025 for delivery. From there, we're going to head over to Etherstone, which is also on Kickstarter. This one was a March 5th launch, which is the case of all of the rest of the games that we're going to be looking at today. So Tuesday is normally the big launch day for board games, and everything else launched on Tuesday of this week. This game, Etherstone, currently has $108,000 in funding off of a $33,000 funding goal roughly, which puts them at about a 3.5 time multiplier. And this campaign is going to run until March the 28th. Now, this is a card game that features deck building, closed drafting, open drafting, hand management, and variable player powers. I think a lot of people will be interested in the designers. They are Virginio Gili, who is probably best known for Coimbra, Egizia, Gollum, Grand Austria Hotel, and Lorenzo il Magnifico, as well as Simone Luciani, who's probably best known for Barrage, Grand Austria Hotel, Lorenzo il Magnifico, Zolk and the Mayan Calendar, and the Voyages of Marco Polo. The artist is Paolo Voto, who's worked on Darwin's Journey, and then a few probably lesser known games, Hats, Rebus, and Tuned. Finally, Etherstone is being published by Thundergrift Games. They're best known for Darwin's Journey, but also Owari, Spirits of the Forest, and Tang Garden. They make some very pretty, very good looking games, and I think in this case, they've also got some very talented designers working on this, so that all bodes very, very well. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the video here. We'll come back. We'll take a look at the 4 pledges for this one, and they do have add-ons, so we'll look at those as well. But I think the add-ons situation is fairly simple, and the add-ons that are available are simply the items that are in the highest pledge level. So if you're not wanting to do the all-in, but you want some of the items in that all-in, you can add on some of those things. But they haven't gone crazy with a lot of extra add-ons beyond that.
Nilbura is a forgotten planet enveloped in mystery. After the last extinction millennia ago, Nilbura remained azoic until an essential cosmic being decided to sacrifice its existence to give life to the planet and a purpose to the universe. Etherstones shaped the planet's biomes and interconnected all living beings with nature, creating 4 distinct species. The Luminary, telepaths whose existence scrolls can remake reality or tear it asunder. The Whisperers, human-animal hybrids, woodland children of the Pachamama and keepers of the wildlands. The Limbics are feral, fearless dwellers of the Blood Gorge, characterized by cold blood and the highest pain threshold. The Exalted, baroque, tech-driven faction whose whims and desires are driven by a fierce passion for life. Yet, the lurking threat of the Vacuous poses a critical challenge to life on the surface, weaving a tale of divine sacrifice. Etherstone, players embody faction leaders uniting forces to avert the impending extinction level event, striving to gain the most victory points through various means in a card game of combo chaining actions. Players will draft a hand of 7 cards and 2 leader cards to choose from. Leaders have a set number of life points, a strength value, and a persistent asymmetric ability. There are 3 types of cards in the game. Followers help you overcome threats. Rituals, powerful spells that can be used several times. Technology, artifacts that can modify your game strategy. Players will be performing 1 action per turn, creating cards by paying the relative Etherstone cost. Gathering dice through open drafting to gain Etherstones of the corresponding color, and activating any played card based on the color of the face value of the drafted dice. Players will also be facing threats, using their leaders and followers to get victory points and powerful instant actions as a reward. Each action you perform will indirectly change the pace of the game until one of the 3 endgame conditions are met. There is no winning strategy or playstyle, and every match will feel unique. Create your path and save Nobura.
All right, so the first pledge that they have for this campaign is not even the game. It's just a novel. It's the Etherstone book. That's the pledge level. It's a $17 pledge with $9 in shipping, or $26 total. And this is just going to get you this 250-page soft sci-fi novel, which introduces 4 unlikely champions, its characters, the characters you're going to be playing with. And it's a novel based on this world. The second pledge level, you actually get the game. This is the Etherstone base game. It's a $33 pledge with $16 in shipping, or $49 total. And this pledge level will simply get you the base game and stretch goals. If we go to the third pledge level here, this is the Etherstone Deluxe Edition. This is a $61 pledge with $18 in shipping, or $79 total. And this one will get you the deluxe version of the game, and it will also include the deluxe stretch goals. Finally, there is the Council Bundle. This is essentially the all-in. It's a $99 pledge with $22 in shipping, or $121 total. This is going to get you the deluxe version of the game, but it's going to add in a bunch of things. It's going to include the novel. That's the same thing from the first pledge level, as well as 4 promo cards, 2 playmats, a council card, a sleeve bundle, and a dice tray. Now, those things can be gotten separately as add-ons. So let's say you want some of those things, but not all of them. The add-on section breaks down the prices. So if you just want the novel with the 4 promo cards, this is a $17 add-on. If you just want the sleeve packs, you can add those on, $17 as well. The playmats, $17 each. Remember that in that council bundle, you would be getting 2, and you'd be able to choose which 2 playmats, probably in the Pledge Manager. But if you're adding them on, they're $17 each. The dice tray is an $11 add-on. And then there's this Kickstarter exclusive life dial. So they say here it is a limited edition first player life dial only available for our Kickstarter backers. That means it's not going to go to retail. And then in the fine print, it says free for returning backers. That means if you've backed any of their projects before, then you will just automatically get this. You will not have to pay the $6 add-on price. The thing that most people probably would have backed from these guys before is Darwin's Journey. So if you have pledged Darwin's Journey and this is a campaign that you're planning on pledging as well, you'll be getting this exclusive life dial for free. I think the last remaining question here is, how is the base game and the deluxe edition different from each other? So here is the inside the box section. The base game is going to look like this if you're getting the kind of simple version. Just kind of look at the components. You'll be getting the cards, what everything looks like, cards for the various factions, the counters and victory points here. It looks like cardboard tokens to me, probably in the standard version. Okay, so that's all of the base game stuff. Now here is the deluxe edition. So this is what you would be getting differently if you're pledging the deluxe edition or the council bundle. You'll be getting a limited edition deluxe box. Includes the base game, a cover sleeve, 80 wooden Etherstones with heat transfer. So these are an upgrade from what you'd be getting in the standard version. And then metal counters with a black wash, and 32 victory point wooden tokens with heat transfer. So there's just more detail in these than the base game ones. They're going to have kind of art heat transferred on. And that is it. Includes all unlocked deluxe edition stretch goals. Okay, and then the council bundle just kind of shows you the extra stuff. But these are all the various add-ons. And last of all, they are planning on delivering Etherstone in February 2025. So the same month that Galactic Cruise will be delivered. From there, we're going to go over to Gamefound for the one and only Gamefound campaign of the video. This is for Meeple Inc. Now, before we get into this, I do want to mention the one campaign that I was hoping to cover that I'm not going to because I don't think the game is going to fund, and that is Fled, designed by Mark Swanson and published by his outfit called Oddbird Games. Now, Mark has designed one of my favorite games of all time, Feudum, but it is a game of very heavy complexity. And his new game, called Fled, which looked like it was a prison breakout game, that was the theme, seems to be on the light side. And right now, it's at about 50% funding. And I tend to not cover games that aren't guaranteed to fund. There is a slight possibility that Fled could somehow make it over the funding goal before the campaign ends. I think it's probably best if that doesn't happen. I think it would be better for Mark if he pulls the plug, does some behind-the-scenes tinkering, and then comes back later with a relaunched campaign. And I'm not sure if the problem with that campaign is that he just didn't do enough advertising, or if maybe fans of Feudum, which is a very heavy game, weren't that interested in the new, seemingly very light game, and then maybe fans of games of lighter complexity just weren't aware of it or don't know much about the publisher or the designer because they haven't played or don't have much interest in Feudum, so they don't know what an amazing game it is. But Mark is a genius, perhaps. And he doesn't have that many games, though, because he's done so much work on Feudum and he's done expansions for it and all kinds of component upgrades. And that seemed to be his focus for a good decade, maybe. So he's coming back with a new game now, but it doesn't look like it's going to fund. I was excited to cover it. I was excited to back it, and I just don't think it's going to happen at this time. You might want to keep Fled on your radar in case it does somehow end up funding, or at least be aware of it so that when it relaunches, you'll know. And if and when that does happen, and I assume it will, and it gets to the point that it's going to fund, which hopefully will happen its next go-round, I would then be covering it at that time. For now, that's kind of the big disappointment for me this week, is that it doesn't seem like Fled is going to fund. Okay, so let's take a look at Meeple Inc. That's our next campaign for this video, and this is on Gamefound. It's the only Gamefound game of this video. So currently they have about $121,000 in funding. This was off of a $25,000 funding goal, so they're just under 5 times that funding goal. And the campaign, if we flip this little digital card over, it's going to show us that the campaign is running until March the 26th. Now, this is a co-design between Joseph N. Adams and Madeline Adams. They are a husband and wife design team. They also own the publisher Cogito Ergo Meeple. They've designed and published some games in the past, but I think a lot of them are games that backers may not be that aware of. So they've done Philosophia Dare to be Wise, Philosophia Floating World, Gonza Index, Luddite, and Solar 175. Solar 175 was a space-themed legacy game that I did back and I have in my collection. I'm actually very excited to play it, and it's something that I hopefully will be playing and live streaming later in the year. I haven't played it yet, though, so I can't really give a personal opinion on it yet. But it does make me interested in their future works. Now, this game is a worker placement game. It's got a board game theme. So when you're playing this game, you're kind of assembling board games on your shelves, which makes me think a lot of a couple other games that have done that recently, My Shelfie and Shelfie Stacker. But I think it's an interesting enough theme that there's room for multiple games out there doing this, and hopefully we've got a third strong contender in this little subgenre that's been growing. So we're going to go ahead and we'll take a look at the video here, then we'll go over the 3 pledges, and much like the last campaign that we just looked at, this is a case where the add-ons are going to be all of the things that are in the all-in. Not a lot of extras beyond that. So if you're not wanting everything in the all-in, you will be able to piecemeal the items you want and just select individual things and add them on. And again, I think that's smart. They're kind of keeping it simple for themselves. There's not a million things. They're just allowing people the ability to get some of those extras that are in the all-in without having to break the bank and get everything if you don't want everything. Okay, let's watch this video Here we go.
Ain't nobody stop you. Cause I'm the movement.
All right. So 3 pledge levels. The first of these is for the Meeple Inc. base game. So this is a $59 pledge with $9 in shipping, or $68 total. You could also pledge for the deluxe version of the game. This is a $90 pledge with $15 in shipping, or $105 total. And then finally, we've got the all-in, $154 for the pledge, $18 in shipping, and $172 total. So, these are very simple. This one's just the standard. The deluxe is adding on some deluxe components. And then we get to the all-in, which adds on several more things, including the Golden Pair expansion, deluxe wooden gaming tables, card sleeves, and metal coins. Now, if we go over here, let's see, the top of the page, I think they have the breakdown of the deluxe stuff here, I think, is at the top of the page. So here's the standard version. Exclusive components, miniature board games, worker placement, unique theme, 1 to 6 players. Cool, we know all that. And as we scroll down, here is the deluxe components. So there's this miniature board game shelf here, wooden easels, 3 metal trophies, acrylic standees, and so much more. So that's the difference that you're getting going from the base game to the deluxe. It is a $37 increase, I think. So it's up to you whether or not that price increase is worth it for the additional things you'll be getting. And then if we go down here to the add-ons, they're going to show us all the things that you can add on. And these are the same items that are also getting added to make up the all-in. So if you want some, but not all of those items, you can just take care of them as an add-on. The Golden Pair expansion, $39 as an add-on. Let's take a look at this and see what they say. With a massive neoprene mat, convention hall space, metal pair tokens, reviewer cards, and extra content for the main game, the Golden Pair expansion is the perfect way to boost games of Meeple Inc. to the maximum. This box full of deluxified components will add even more variety and complexity to the game of Meeple Inc. Plus, did we mention the miniature Golden Pairs? So this is the stuff that is coming in that Golden Pair expansion. Okay. You can also get the deluxe wooden gaming tables as an add-on for $46, metal coins for $25, card sleeves for $20, and then there's also a Meeple Inc. pin that is not included in any of the pledge levels, but if you want to support the company and have a pin with their logo on it, it is a $5 add-on. Only available through Gamefound, so it's just a little extra, and assuming that this does make it to retail at some point, it will not include the Meeple pin. Finally, if we click on any of the pledge levels, it'll tell us that Cogito Ergo Meeple is planning on delivering Meeple Inc. in March 2025. That means the month after Galactic Cruise and Etherstone. Okay, and with that, we're going to jump back to Kickstarter for our final 2 campaigns of the week. The first of these is for the NEXUS Unsanctioned Big Box expansion. Now, this is from a smaller publisher who's really just been working on NEXUS stuff. And if you haven't heard of NEXUS, I understand. It's probably not that well known. But if we go and take a look at it over here, NEXUS Arena Combat System, that's the base game. On Board Game Geek, you'll see that this is actually rated very high. 8.6 is a very high aggregate score, which, you know, you shouldn't ignore this. If this is the kind of game that you like, this is something you really want to take a look at. And this is a skirmish fighter. It's got action points, dice rolling, and variable player powers. And as we can see over here, the complexity is listed at a 3.22. This is for the base game. And I always say that anything that is higher than a 2.55 is medium heavy. Anything that is higher than a 3.33 is heavy. So this falls into that medium heavy range, but it's closer to the heavy end of it. All right, so there are 2 designers on this, Jason Goike and J. Scott Rumps, and they are the designers of NEXUS. This is kind of what they've been doing, and they've been doing this with their publishing company called D-Verse Publishing. On the base game, there are a lot of artists involved. There's 8 of them. 3 of them are back for the new expansion. They are Helga C. Balzer, who's worked on Arkham Horror, the card game, The Lord of the Rings, the card game, Stargrave, and Talisman 4th Edition. He hasn't necessarily worked on the base games of those, but he's worked on a lot of various things in those series. Also, Danny Cruz, who's worked on Kingdom Death Monster, and Michael Recklin, who's worked on a game called Kings of War. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the video for this one. It's a shorter video. It's 1 minute, and then we'll go over the 4 different pledges and add-ons.
Maybe you own NEXUS, but I'm a small indie publisher, so chances are you've never even heard of it. Either way, here it is in all of its pre-painted glory. Yeah, you heard right. This game comes pre-painted out of the box. You get to take off the lid, and it hits the table. But believe me, that's not what fans love the most about this game. That would be the floor saws. Well, that and all the other hazards trying to mutilate, incinerate, and decapitate your helot during a bout. Amidst all this chaos, what really makes this game special are the stories players are left with after it's all over. And that's where the NEXUS Unsanctioned expansion comes in. Fans have been clamoring for more chaos, more narrative, more laughs, and unexpected thrills. And I'm here on Kickstarter, attempting to deliver. So, check out the page below to get all the info on this guy, the Creature Pit, as well as all the other mayhem we've got in store for the NEXUS Unsanctioned expansion.
Okay. I think it's really good for something like this that it's an expansion. They already have a base game out. There's stuff that you can look at. Even though they're a small publisher and they've only done a couple of things, I don't think they're going to fail to deliver in this. I have good feels about this one. Now, compared to a lot of the other stuff we've been looking at, it is a smaller publisher. It's a smaller campaign. So they had a $10,000 funding goal. They're currently at $38,500, which is about 4 times that funding goal. And the campaign is going to run until March the 29th. Okay, let's take a look at these 4 different pledge levels. And this is another case of a publisher, I think, making smart decisions where they don't have a lot of extra add-ons. The add-ons, again, in this campaign are simply the things that are in the all-in if you don't want to go all the way in because you don't want everything that's in that all-in and you just want some of those things. But let's start out at the beginning with the Unsanctioned expansion. So this is a $90 pledge with $20 in shipping, $110 total. It's just going to get you the new expansion, so this assumes you already have the base game. And then in any pledge level throughout this campaign, you're going to be getting this bonus figure. He's called Targ the Carver, and like everything else, he is pre-painted, and I think that's pretty awesome. I spend so much time doing board games and board game related stuff that I don't have the time to also take on miniature painting. I think if people do, that's awesome, that's amazing. But I know for me that it's a whole extra side of the hobby I'm just not going to have the time to get into. So if I'm playing miniatures games, they're going to be unpainted, unfortunately. And, you know, it's not always that cool to be moving around just these gray unpainted figures. I think that's one of the reasons why something like acrylic standees, which are becoming more and more popular, are now really cool, because you can do a lot with an acrylic standee and you can get some really cool colored images on those. And they look good. They look really good. They're not really that much cheaper to make from miniatures because there is a lot of work that goes into them. But that is a comparison between, I think, painted standees and unpainted miniatures. Once you go to the level of painted miniatures, things get really expensive. So I very much appreciate games that throw in pre-painted miniatures. Some of the Dice Throne games have done that. They just did that recently with some of the games from Ivy Studios, like Fractured Sky and Mythic Mischief. And I'm just always a fan of pre-painted miniatures when a publisher can do that and still make it relatively affordable. So anyway, the first pledge level here is just for that expansion with that extra figure. If we go to the next pledge level up, this is the board game bundle. This is a $210 pledge with $30 in shipping, $240 total. That's just going to take the previous pledge level and throw the base game into it, also with pre-painted miniatures, which is why the price is as high as it is. From there, we go to the role play bundle. This is a $250 pledge with $35 in shipping, $285 total. That's just going to take that board game bundle and add one more thing to it, which is the Nexus Legacy Edition. This is essentially a book, a little bit more expansive than a book, but it's a book that adds in stuff, campaign-y type stuff, so that you can make this into a legacy experience. And then finally, the fourth and final pledge level here is for the all-in bundle. That's going to take the previous roleplay bundle and then add on to that 700 aluminum coins, a textured plastic game board, and a novel. Another campaign with a novel. It is called Blood, Guts, and Glory, and it's a novel, again, set in this universe. This is a $400 pledge with $40 in shipping, or $440 total. And if we go down here, I believe they do have the add-ons listed. They may not actually have a section for it. So what we're going to do is go over here and look in the details. And they will show us the prices for things if you want to add them on. So, for instance, the all-in bundle shows you what comes with it. And then it has a list of other things that you can add on. So if you are just wanting the novel, $10 as an add-on. If you are just wanting that Legacy Edition book, take the Nexus Arena Combat System to the next level with the Legacy Edition rulebook, featuring a faux leather cover with silver and red foil imprint, 284 pages, pit boss screen, 28-page narrative campaign, 50 Lanista sheet pad, 50 Helot sheet pad, and then shipping. So this is a $40 add-on if you want this book. The textured plastic game board, which is kind of interesting, is $70 as an add-on. It's not going to be cheap. The 700 aluminum coins, $70 as an add-on. And then the new expansion here, if you want an extra copy of that, $90 as an add-on. And the original base game, $120 as an add-on. Finally, D-Verse Publishing is planning on delivering this campaign in March 2025. And from there, we're going to go to our final campaign of the video. This is for Ready, Set, Bet High Roller Edition from AEG. Now, this campaign is at $218,000. That's off of a $10,000 funding goal. It's a fairly small funding goal. It's not going to be able to eclipse Galactic Cruise in total funding. Remember, they were at like $450,000, but it is going to have the highest multiplier, probably because the funding goal is so low. They've got a 22-time multiplier here, and the campaign's going to run until March the 15th. So why is the funding goal so low? Why is the multiplier so high? And the reason for that is that Ready, Set, Bet has already existed. So this is a game that people already really love. In fact, if we go over here to Board Game Geek, we can see that the game was published in 2022. And it's currently got a 7.6 rating, which is pretty solid. And if we look at the weight or the complexity, it's a 1.28, which is super light. I would say medium light for games as a category usually starts once you get over 2. So anything below 2 is incredibly light. Just very, very light game. It's like party game light, something where you're just making very, very simple choices. So that's something to be aware of. This is not a heavy game. This is a very light game. John D. DeClaire, who is the designer here, designs a whole gamut of stuff. He designs some very heavy stuff. He's designed some lighter stuff. But this is one of the ones that's on the very light side. And the other thing I think to make note of is the player count. So this is a game that can be played with 2 to 9 players. So again, it's a light game, kind of a party game, and you can accommodate a lot of people with this player count. This is a real-time racing, betting, and bluffing game, and definitely fits within that party game category. And if we look down here, we can see that in 2022, it was nominated for a bunch of Golden Geeks, and it won Best Party Game. So this is something that is not an unknown factor. This is a game that's already been well reviewed. Audiences really like it. It's won some awards, but they've come back now and they're doing a nicer, more deluxeified version of it with this campaign. So John D. Clare, as a designer, is probably best known for Cubitos, Dead Reckoning, Edge of Darkness, Mystic Veil, and Space Base. And the artist on this, Kirk W. Buckendorf, is best known for a game called Freelooter, and Athena Kegel is best known for Drunk Quest. And the publisher AEG published a ton of stuff, but right now their most popular, highest rated games include Calico, Cascadia, Istanbul, Love Letter, Tiny Towns, and War Chest. So we're going to go and take a look at the video here. It's about a 1.5 minute video. Then we'll come back. We'll take a look at the 2 pledge levels and the 2 add-ons. And the 2 add-ons, again, in this campaign, are simply the 2 items that are coming in the all-in, the second of the 2 pledge levels. So if for some reason you only want one of those things and not both, you can just add on that one thing. But let's take a look at the video and then we'll go over all of the stuff.
Hello, one and all, and welcome to Ready, Set, Bet High Roller Edition. It's a beautiful day for racing, and the fans are lined up to play this new giant-sized deluxe version of AEG's hit game, enjoyed by friends, family, and gamers alike. We've pulled out all the stops and made this version bigger and better to match the exciting action and joy that players from all over the world have come to enjoy. Perfect for conventions, family get-togethers, and weekly game nights, Ready, Set, Bet is always a hit. Every component has been lovingly redesigned and upgraded. All the betting and money chips have been upgraded to full-size poker chips. The bet board is now a neoprene mat, upscaled to just over 2 feet by 4 feet in size. The race mat is also scaled up to hold the oversized wooden horses, now with names, to make calling the race even more immersive and fun. All of this can be yours, packed into a beautiful suitcase-style box with the foam inserts for quick setup and cleanup times. Be sure to back Ready, Set, Bet High Roller Edition, now on Kickstarter. Want more customized components? We've made an extra set of red AEG dice and a second stable of AEG-themed horses, all named after our hit games. You can never have too many dice, and fans of AEG can cheer on their favorite games as part of the action. See details below in our add-on section.
Now, I know for me personally, if I'm playing a betting game, I really do appreciate having like tactile poker chips. And so I think the deluxe components here are really merited. Now, obviously, you can still go out and get the standard retail version if you want to get something on the cheap. But for something like this, I think this is really smart. Now, as I mentioned before, there's only 2 pledges here with this one. There's the High Roller Edition. This is an $89 pledge. It's going to have $13 of shipping, $102 total. Or you can go for the all-in, which is simply adding 2 more things to it. So this is a $109 pledge with $13 in shipping, or $122 total. So there's only a $20 increase from the High Roller Edition to the all-in. Remember that, $20 increase. And here's why I want to make note of that, because the 2 add-ons that are available are the AEG Red Dice, $10 as an add-on, and then the AEG Racehorse Stable, which gives you a whole new set of 9 horse meeples with names that are named after different AEG games. So this is $29 to add this on. So together, this is $39 for add-ons. So it's almost $40. But remember, the 2 pledges only go up $20. So you wouldn't want to add on the Racehorse Stable to the High Roller Edition because you're going to actually pay more than you would for the all-in. So it wouldn't make sense to do this. You should just pledge the all-in and save money and get more, get the red dice in the process. I suppose if you wanted to add on the red dice and you didn't want the horse stable, you could do that. You could just take the High Roller Edition, add on the red dice, but you're already halfway to the all-in. So maybe you just want to go with the all-in, and then for an extra $10, get the AEG horse stable for a third of what you would have been paying to add them on. So I don't really see much of a reason for the add-ons unless you just want the red dice. I would probably just go for the all-in myself. And then finally, AEG is planning on delivering Ready, Set, Bet, this new edition, in March of 2025. So we've got the first 2 campaigns of the week, February 2025 deliveries, the last 3 campaigns of the week of the video, March 2025 deliveries. So everyone's in this very kind of narrow delivery window this week. And that wraps the video. Thank you very much for joining me and taking a look at these campaigns. Hopefully I brought something to your attention or helped you make a pledging decision on one of these campaigns. Come back in another week. I'll be back with another video. I don't know everything that's going to be in that video yet. I won't really know until we see what actually ends up launching on the next Tuesday coming. But I do know 2 games that are launching next week that almost definitely will be included. One of those is the final game in the newest trilogy from Garphill Games, that is Inventors of the South Tigris. And the other one is a new game from Chip Theory Games called Roth. And that is a light dice drafter from Manny Tremblay, who's worked on stuff like 20 Strong, the Dice Throne series, which he also helped co-design, Radlands, and Wonderland's War. So come back in another week, join me for a new video featuring those 2 games and whatever else demands to be included. And until then, have a great weekend, play lots of great games, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.